So we are in the Sespe Wilderness and we just finished the Sespe Creek Hot Springs trails, and we're going to give you guys an overview of the trail itself, where you can stop to get water, where the good camping is, and why we ran 33 miles round trip and didn't even get in the hot springs.
The trail starts at Piedra Blanca trailhead just outside of Ojai. The first 4 miles are gradual, rolling up and down hills, but overall is pretty mellow.
This is the first campground about 4 or 5 miles in. And you cross the river right there.
Most of the year the river is dried up, so the best place to get water is at springs along the route. There's a good spot to fill up water bottles at mile 7 at the Oak Flats campground. Willett Hot Springs is at mile 10. This is a very popular camping spot. We didn't actually find the hot springs because we were moving on to Sespe Hot Springs, but there were a lot of great campsites here.
Alright, so there's another watering spot at Willett campground, just off the trail.
The final 5 miles from Willett to Sespe Hot Springs follows similar terrain. It starts to get a little more forested. There was no water when we were there in November, but we have seen pictures of lots of water in the spring.
We're currently in between Willett and Cotriol Flat. It's a nice campground here, big rock pile. Only downside is it doesn't seem that like there's any drinking water nearby, and that's why no one's here.
Alright, so we're in the Sespe Wilderness and at the Sespe Hot Springs. I think we're at the lower pools. As you keep heading up the trail towards the canyon, it's pretty much a free-flowing river of beautiful hot springs.
The hot springs ended up being incredible. It was a desert oasis. There was a full river with many different pools and different temperatures. There were about 4 other groups when we were there, but because of how spread out the canyon was, we felt like we had the place all to ourselves. So now the moment you've all been waiting for. The reason why we didn't get in the hot springs is because it was still pretty hot even in mid-November during the day, and the upper pools are much hotter than the lower pools. So we camped near the upper pools and they were pretty much scalding hot, too hot to get in. If you go on a warmer day, we definitely recommend trying to stay down by the lower pools where it's cooler. Although the night was pretty chilly, I think it got down to maybe 45 degrees, and we did stick our feet in at night. But unfortunately, since we were traveling so light, we didn't bring towels, so we didn't want to get in at night and then have no way to dry off and be cold while sleeping. So we didn't end up getting in the hot springs. But it was definitely still worth the trip, and we just recommend bringing a towel. One more quick side note, if you don't feel like drinking hot sulfur water from the hot springs, there is a nice cool spring that comes in. It's about a 10-minute walk down from the campground, and the water tastes great.
If you think we did a pretty okay job, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We are going to have future videos on other trips, and so if you're interested, give this channel a follow and stay tuned.